the 3 phases of manifestation and why most people get stuck. If you are an entrepreneur, a creator, maybe a school owner who feels busy, tired, stuck, frustrated, desperate, like you're running around in the hamster wheel, just being more and more exhausted and more desperate, my bet here is that you're not lazy. That's not the issue. It's usually because you, and I did the same, try to manifest from the wrong phase. I've lived all 3 phases that I'm going to share with you in this video, and I've skipped them. That almost cost me everything. And I've connected them in the wrong way, which only led me to being very exhausted. So I'm going to share with you what we're doing in the manifestation community in this video. I'm going to share with you the 3 phases, what we are building right now, and also how you can use this if you want to manifest, if there's something that you want to manifest in your life, something more meaningful, something deeper than what you got right now, what you're living right now. So first of all, my name is Michael and I'm 53 years old. I've been a business manager and an entrepreneur, self-employed since 2012, business manager all of my grown-up life. And I've managed, the biggest business was from 0 to 500 people in the team and 50 shops in my country. I built the organization, I built the team, the shops, everything. And in 2012, I was with a personal debt of $1.5 million after I hustled and grinded for so many years. And I invested in properties. The financial crisis came and everything was destroyed, plus a $1.5 million debt. And I solved the debt in 4 years. And that was with hustle and grind, but at the same time with the right strategies and with the right mindset. After that, I went into a personal crisis with a relationship that was manipulating and narcissistic. And after 6 years in that relationship, I finally caught the truth that I was not the only man. And that broke me into 1,000 pieces. But after that, some would say I saw the light, but I would just say that all of those 1,000 pieces was a lot of characters and walls and egos and whatever you want to call it that been built through a long life. A manifestation for me, what I'm sharing on the channel, what we're doing in the community is not the woo-woo thing. It's not about sitting down and meditating and suddenly someone is knocking at your door with a $1 million prize or something like that. And it's not because I never experienced it. But what it is for me, what I am playing with, am curious with, am sharing and am inviting to, is to still do what's necessary, do the work or whatever it is that shows up. We have to take some action, but it depends very much from the energy that we are in when we take the action, what will happen. I shared this in many videos now, but coming from fear and desperately trying to solve something, what I've seen is that mostly we will keep seeing things show up in our life that will trigger that fear. Probably you know that too. Maybe you've tried to do something, but there was fear involved and it ended up with a result that just triggered the same fear. So when when I solved my $1.5 million debt, I used those 3 phases. I didn't call them the 3 phases, but it was what I went through, and through different mentors, what I've learned. The only thing that is very different from then, and this was back in 2012 till 2016, what's different for me now is that I went through that personal crisis too, with a relationship where I really, some would say, let go or transform or shifted, released, whatever you want to call it, but a lot of the old identities, phew. So if I have known the things that I'm sharing with you here, the 3 phases, if I have known those and if I have understood those, but with my being, not up here, this is the big thing for many people, we try to understand here. But if I've understood that years ago, I do believe that I would never have attracted that relationship because I wouldn't have needed to. I would never have attracted that $1.5 million debt because I would never have needed to. And sometimes, maybe you know that too, we have to go through some struggles. And in those struggles, we will find the gold. And the gold, when I speak about that, is inside. So many people try to look for the goal outside, but the goal is inside. And that's why I've built the 3 phases the way that I've done and the way that I'm sharing them with you. So over the last, and also I just want to say one more thing before we dive into the 3 phases, just so you know who I am. Since I started growing my own company and I saw I could begin to pay off the debt, I was called to do coaching, and I started doing life coaching back in 2012-13 maybe, because that was what I started with myself. That was the journey. I felt something shifted, but mostly up here. It was also about mindset. And I did seminars, and I have been on stages and did seminars for thousands of people. And then I started doing coaching for entrepreneurs because I saw how I grew my business. I shared my story, and there was a lot of entrepreneurs who could relate to that story because they were hustling and grinding and not getting any results. Best outcome, not getting any results. Many of them was close to bankruptcy. And I helped them, and many of them did great results. And if it hadn't been for this relationship, I probably would have gone further with the coaching, further with my business, and life would have been different today. But again, it was my darkest hour with that relationship, but it was also my biggest gift. And that's why it's possible for me to share this with you. And also, one thing the last thing here before we dive into it that I want to share with you is that for me, what I've experienced is when I try to solve things myself, it's rarely working. And there's a mechanism inside of us that's working like whatever our thoughts and emotions they show up with, it's history. It's something that it learned before. So if you want to step into something new, you're stepping up against what I call the wall. And that wall is all the old stories, all the old experiences. So we can try to think our way out of it, but most people will realize, like I did, that only thing is happening is it's the same story repeating. We try something different, but we will end the same place. That's the Groundhog Day experience, that movie. And what I'm sharing in the 3 phases will help us a lot, because the first phase is actually about not going through the wall, which I did when I started my company back in 2012, just going through everything, just hustling and grinding and knocking down the wall and look fear in the eyes and all of that. And there can be something good in that. I'm not saying I would never do that again, because I am looking fear in the eyes, but I'm looking fear in the eyes from a totally different perspective today, because I acknowledge the part of me where fear shows up. I acknowledge that that fear comes from a story, and that fear is there trying to protect me. But it's just protecting me from an old story. And I'm leaning into phase 1 here. That's what is so important, not necessary to understand. It's more about actually just feeling there's something right in this. Because if we just carry on the fear and try to break through things, the fear will still be there, and we will experience it in some form. If we don't learn how to regulate the fear, how to stay with the fear, how to shift, release, whatever you want to call it, let go of the fear. So at a point we will be so connected with ourselves and understand what's going on inside. Thoughts if we are in the head, fear showing up if we are in the body. And we will be so much aware that we can do the action, but not from a breakthrough thing, more from a loving and caring and curiosity around understanding ourselves. So, over these last months, as I've been sharing things in the community, what I more and more realize for me and for the people I've helped with this is that manifestation is not one technique. It's kind of a journey. And there are different phases of this. That's the 3 phases that I'm sharing with you. And as I said in the beginning, most people, they don't fail because they lack discipline or desire. I've seen so many, and I see it now too, so many people hustling and grinding and really want to desperately pay their debt off or go to 10K or 50K or 100K a month. And they work harder and try, and it's the knockdown thing. It's the masculine energy, not sex-wise, but masculine energy. And as I said, what happens often is that they try harder only to experience the same result or worse and faster, which makes people even more frustrated. So maybe you know what I'm speaking about here. And these things is what create burnout. It's what creates what I said is the hamster wheel, frustration and desperation, that we try so hard and nothing works. And I've been there for so many years. And sometimes I can still, that part of me shows up. And it goes like, Michael, you're doing so much. How come this is not going as speedy as you wanted? Blah, 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 blah. This is just an old story. So what we are building in the manifestation community, whether you're watching this on YouTube, if you want to check it out, there's a link below the video. It's free. And if you are in the community and you are like, okay, I would really like something else to happen. I would really like to dive into manifestation, but not the woo-woo thing, even though magic can happen. That's exactly what I'm building. And it's not hype. This is not the woo-woo path. It's grounded path for creators and entrepreneurs. A grounded path that creators and entrepreneurs can actually walk. So let's dive into the first phase. This is already built. This is the 7-day manifestation reset challenge. This challenge, we have had people come through it, and even though it's only 7 days, they have experienced the difference. I also want to invite that it's the same thing as the gym. If you go for 7 days and you feel that it's burning and you feel your muscle are getting a little more better and all of that, but then you stop, guess what? Yeah, Nothing, right? Same thing with this. It's an ongoing thing. It's a journey. It's a magical journey inside of yourself. So this is an invitation. If you went through the 7 days, I'll invite you to go back and just do it again and again and again. Because this is not solved in 7 days. It's an ongoing learning. So what is this phase about? This phase is actually about slowing down. It's about coming out of the head and into awareness. It's about beginning to understand a nervous system safety. And it's about noticing patterns instead of fixing them. This is a big thing. And observing thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Most people, me included, when there's something that disturbs us, can be something that tricks us from the outside. Maybe a person, a customer, a client, or we want to do a post, we want to speak something, but then we don't dare, or we're afraid that someone will call us out, or we're afraid that we will lose money or something like that. So there's something inside, and what often happens is that something will be experienced as a result in the outside, and we will trigger, and it will trigger that thing inside of us. The thoughts, the emotions, and the reactions. So this is about being aware, beginning to observe these things instead of react to them. And it's important that this phase is not about goal setting. It's not about strategy. It's not about manifest your dream life. This will come later. Phase 1 is not about changing your life. It's about beginning to see clearly for the first time. And why this phase matters? See, most people, they try to manifest from stress. Most people try to manifest from stress. Most people are stressed about money and they want to manifest money, but they manifest from stress, and guess what keeps showing up? Most people want to manifest or try to manifest love, and they try to manifest love from I need love. But it's from something empty or something fearful or something deep inside that feels like it needs the love. So it's more about desperation, it's more about solving something, and guess what keeps showing up? I've seen this when I was coming out of that narcissistic relationship. I was in groups with people who were or was out of it, narcissistic relationship, and I saw so many kept saying, how come I keep attracting the wrong people into my life? Maybe you know this too, maybe you've been there too. And it can be people we fight with, it can be people you get triggered from them. It could be loving partners where they cheat on you, or they manipulate you, or they don't treat you well. And the thing is that if there's a pattern, if these things keep showing up in our life, we can do, from my experience now, we can do whatever strategy we'll find, and they will keep showing up in our life. Because there's only one place where you can solve this. And this is phase 1, beginning to understand what's going on inside, because there's something that's unhealed that is attracting those men or women. And I know, my friend, because that's what happened to me. And I know exactly the wounds because they were triggered. And after, when I learned about all of these things, I also learned how to find them, how I could see them, how with love could shift or transform or release or let go, whatever you want to call it. But until I began doing this, the wrong things kept showing up. So this phase matters because most people, they thrive from pressure, they thrive from self-judgment, or they thrive from urgency. And with a little practice and understanding, awareness, which is phase 1, removes friction. We have a couple of exercises in there. Again, there's no strategies in this. It's you learning yourself. Awareness removes friction. And without phase 1, the 7-day manifestation reset challenge, without phase 1, everything else becomes forced. So we can try manifesting more money into our life, but if we have not become more aware what's going on inside, and again it's the first phase, we will likely see the same experiences. We want to attract a loving partner who's not cheating, who's not fighting, who is not all of these things we don't like, all the negativity. But if we don't go through the first phase and begin to understand, we will keep attracting them. It's just the mirror of reality reflecting the wounds back, the triggers back. So who is this phase for? Again, it's for creators, school owners, entrepreneurs, conscious entrepreneurs. It's for those who are tired of the hamster wheel. People who know something is off, but can't quite name it. And the phase 1, it's free. It's totally free to join. The link is below this video. And if you are in the community, or you're joining us now, just write 7-day in the comments, and I will send you a message how to start, and I will open up the classroom for the 7-day. So that's phase 1. Phase 2, this is the next chapter, and this is the phase where I remember the excitement when I went through these things. I remember the excitement, and I'm living in a whole new experience, but I do remember the excitement. Phase 2 is about vision and direction. And for now, this phase is also free, and it's only going to be available for those who have gone through phase 1. So 1, you have to be in the community, the link is below. And 2, you have to go through, and not like I need to do this, but actually doing, being aware, learning. This is not about anyone else but yourself for 7 days. And after you've done that for 7 days, then if you're ready, if you feel ready for the next one, phase 2. This phase is not about setting more goals just to stay busy. That's the most easy thing that entrepreneurs do. It's kind of like a drug addict. They just keep setting goals or keep starting new things up, and it's kind of just staying in the hamster wheel. So this phase is actually more about letting vision emerge and not forcing it. So it's something that will arise from within and not forcing it. For me, the image that I sit with now is it could be something that we feel called to do, not from here, but from something bigger. Someone called it God the other day to me. Someone called it the universe. Someone called it reality. And it doesn't matter. Someone called it the soul speaking. For me, the most important thing is that it's something bigger that is calling. It's the truth, but not trying to figure things up. It's emerging. And it's about feeling the direction in the body, not just in the mind. And also this phase is about starting up the identity, starting to realign. This is something that the last couple of years that I've really been deep into, that if we have something that we want to shift, you have a dream, something emerges, there's a dream emerging, and this is what you want, this is what you're called for. But there's still all the old stories in the body, and we can force through it, we can break through it. Like I said, all of these, there's so many teachings around that. But the old identity then it will be a fight between the new identity and the old identity, or the soul identity, whatever you want to call it. But there's still all the old in the nervous system, in the identity. So in this phase, when the vision is emerged, when the dream life is emerged, calling is emerged, this is about all, but from a loving and kind space and energy, about letting the identity realign to the new chapter. And this is so powerful, because this is here where it's not about forcing, it's not about struggling or pushing any harder. It's actually about letting it realign. So you could maybe say something like, this is from the old identity, what should I do now, to what is actually calling me, and showing up and doing that. And yes, sometimes it will trigger some things, sometimes we'll still have fear. When I started becoming an actor for 3.5 years ago, I went through so many things that was very fearful for me, but it showed up like, it was just like, this is what I need to do now. And this phase is not about doing more either. It's about making sure you're moving in the right direction. This is so important to understand. And why this phase matters? This is action, but it's another kind of action, because action without clarity leads to burnout. And when I say action without clarity, some people say, yeah, but I know my goal up here. I know that I want to do 100K a month. Well, you've been hustling and grinding for the last 3 years to do this. How come it's not happened if you are so burned out? Yeah, but I know I just have to. Okay, keep going then. And the hamster just runs around. So hamster without clarity, without the right energy, without that, it's even becoming magnetic. I've taught this before, that you have a vision, something emerges. It's here, and you're here, but there's a magnetic force between those two. So it's kind of like it's just dragging you to come. And the next thing is that vision without awareness becomes fantasy. Which means that if we're too much up here, same thing. You probably know, like 5% of our whole being is in the conscious mind. So the rest, the 95%, is in the unconscious, in the unseen. That's why I call it awareness here. So with 5% or maybe even less that we try to control our whole system, yeah, it's going to be difficult, right? Because and the system, the 95%, if it just were on paper and this is what we need to, this is how to rewrite the code and this is where we're going, but it's not like that. All of those thoughts, all of those emotions, all of those old stories, they're so tricky. You probably know that. You've probably been through it. I've been through that for so many years. I believed that voice. I believed those emotions telling me, don't go that way. I believed them. So, but they were just trying to protect a younger version of me who gone something like that way and got hurt. So, phase 2 bridges inner work with outer movement. This is the beginning of it. It's the beginning of this. So, the inner work in phase 1, and then the inner work of emerging the vision, and then beginning with the movement. And again, phase 2 only opens after phase 1. Clarity comes from awareness, not the other way around. I think I mentioned, but phase 2 is also free. For now, at least. And again, if you want to join phase 2, if you want to join the community, link is below. If you are in the community and you want to join, you have to go through phase 1. You just write 7 day. If you have gone through the 7 days and you want to join in the phase 2 when it's ready, just write vision of phase 2 in the comments. So I'll have you, and I'll make sure that when it's ready, I'll let you know, all right? Now, there is a third phase. And this has been this was what I did. This was how I went from a $1.5 million debt. And actually, it is pretty crazy when I think about it. In less than 4 years, I paid the debt off. I got 60 team members in my team, and I started coaching and did $50K a month on that. Right? It's pretty crazy in less than 4 years, which means that when we are really in the flow, like I said before, when we make the decision, when we know what we're called for, and we take the right kind of action, it can go so fast. So fast. So phase 3 is the last part of how I managed to do these things, how I succeeded with those. So we have to go again through the first 2 phases. First number 1, then number 2. And phase 3, when that opens at a point, it's going to be paid. This is a commitment phase. This is a commitment phase. And this is not a cheap phase. It's cheap as depending on the person who looks at it, but it's you would say high ticket or high level phase, because it's for people who are ready to step into a new identity, who are ready to step into a new life, and who went through the 2 first phases, so they know what this is about. So this phase is about an identity, you could call it upgrade, something bigger inside of you that is ready with the vision to emerge. It's about leadership without pressure. It's about flow plus discipline. It's about intuition plus execution. This is about building real results from a regulated nervous system. Again, this is not hustle. And it's not just trust the universe. It's grounded execution from alignment. And yes, probably the universe will help a lot here. And if you think, why is this phase paid? Well, the first 2 phases about becoming aware, letting the vision emerge. And the third phase here is a commitment phase. It's a commitment phase to actually step into that vision. And if you, I don't know when you see this, how much you've tried, how much you know in your life. I've been with some pretty high-level mentors. I mean, really high-level mentors. And I paid a lot of money for those. And I do understand the fact that with that commitment, money-wise, there's usually also a higher impact. So, and I also really want to make sure that the people inside the phase 3, when we come to that, are aligned with each other too. So went through phase 1, went through phase 2, but also aligned with each other. And who is this for? Again, Skool owners, creators, conscious entrepreneurs who have gone through first phase 1 and then phase 2 and feel that vision and are ready to step into it. And also people who can feel the call to lead and build. And this is probably important. I know that some people, they might like just calmness. I spoke with a friend yesterday. That was his biggest thing in life. He just wanted calmness. And I went through that period in my life after the relationship. But today something is calling for me. And I'm sharing what's going on as I take my steps myself here. So for people who feel the call to lead and build, and again, this is not for everyone, I know that, and that's intentional. I lived the hamster wheel myself for so many years. And I didn't know about these things before I stepped into my first seminar, before I stepped into my first coaching program with a high-level coach. I tried to figure things out with this one. I tried to read, I tried to look all the videos, but it didn't shift my reality. So for me, it's about creating, and I'm inviting you to this, creating something that can help people to go through the phases and to begin manifest from a totally different and more aligned awareness and being. And here, I think when I say leadership, it can be many things. So I don't want to tell people it should be one or the other, but most people who I've helped, and I've helped as a coach and a mentor so many people in my life now, it has usually been around money, around relationship or love, maybe sometime health, growing businesses. And when we speak about the deeper work, it's really a lot of letting go of the old stories or transforming them or shifting or whatever you want to go, stepping into a new identity, something bigger. And all of this is not theory. I would actually say it's the path that I wish that I had understood earlier. And for me now, I'm just called to share it and make it shared out there. So for you who resonate with this, that you have the possibility to feel this yourself and begin working with these things. Phase 1 first, then second, and if you're ready to the next phase, then that's the high commitment. So each phase has its own timing. And again, trying to skip one phase is just creating frustration. And it's not about hustling through it. It's about taking it as it comes. I say for those who are in the phases, 1 video a day in phase 1. Maybe phase 2 will be a bit different, but 1 video a day, do the exercise. And the most important, staying with oneself. And again, I invite you to keep doing the work, keep going in and reflecting each day on the posts. So in the community right now, the phase 1 has been built and the focus is on it. And from there, soon, whenever that will be, the next phase will be created and opened. And for the people in it, phase 1, again, if you are not and you want, just write 7 day if you are in the community and I'll let you in. And if you feel like phase 2, the vision, the clarity, the emerging of whatever the call is, just write vision of phase 2. The difference here, as I sit here right now, is the difference between trying to force things, trying to use so much energy on desperation and frustration and trying to figure everything out, into letting things emerge. Still take action, but it's a different kind of action. It's the action without all the frustration and desperation. So again, if this is for you, the link is below to check us out. I hope this somehow inspired you in some way, and I look forward. This is unfolding, and this is the thing. I've used this word for so many weeks and months now. It's just unfolding. I don't have the path in front of me for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years like I used to. It's a different living experience, and there's so much more freedom in this. It's unfolding, and it's beautiful. So you're welcome.